Hi, I'm Francesca, and this is my story. I was baptized probably 16. When I was little, I always had some sense of that there was a God, that there was somebody out there, like bigger than myself, not just like Santa Claus watching me all the time. But we didn't go to church. My parents never brought us to church. We were baptized in the Catholic Church, and then that was the end of our Catholic days. The only time it was brought up was when my cousins were going to their communion or their confirmation or all these things. One of them once told me I was going to hell because I didn't go to the Catholic Church. So I once asked my parents, I said, I want to know more about God. Can we go to church or something? And my dad suggested that I go with my grandmother, who, while she was a terrific lady, spoke very little English. She was Italian. She spoke mostly Italian. She spoke whatever the Italian equivalent of Spanglish is. That's what my grandmother spoke. She learned from watching soap operas. And she went to the Italian mass at the local church. And, as I got older, I still had a lot of questions. I still had a sense that there was a God out there. I didn't know how to know him. So I just went to different things. My mom and I went to guided meditation. I read lots of books about Eastern philosophy and religion and that kind of stuff. And it never answered any questions I had. It just kind of left me with more questions and okay, what am I supposed to be getting from this? And a lot of times I would try to meditate in my room by myself, and all I would get is a nice nap. I wouldn't, there was no, great revelation. It was just a nice nap in the afternoon after school. See, I don't know, I just expected some kind of, the universe to reach out and impart some wisdom on me or something. It never happened. When I was in high school, I was a freshman in high school, and we found out my mom had breast cancer. And that was hard for me as a high school freshman. You're already dealing with all this new stuff, and my friends were all awkward, didn't know how to help me or what to say to me. This isn't really important to the story, but there it is anyway. So she, had her surgery and everything, and it turned out okay, but she felt after that she wanted to start going to church and thank God for this second chance at life. And so my youngest brother went to school with Jim's son, Mark. So my mom decided to come here to the Glen Cove Christian Church, and so she came and she kind of wanted us to go with her, and I was kind of well, it's that teenage attitude, well, when I wanted to go, you didn't want to go, so now that you want to go, I don't want to go. So I didn't go for a while, but I knew that they were going, and the next year, and I remember very clearly. My dad, I came home from hanging out with my friends, and my dad was sitting on the couch, and he just didn't look well, which for him was not normal. And said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Oh, well, your mom's going to take me to the hospital, and you're just not feeling well." So he went to the hospital. They kept him for a while. Found out he needed triple bypass heart surgery, and so he was out for a while. That was weird for me to see my dad, who'd always been this big, strong guy, looking kind of fragile after the surgery. And so after he had that experience, he kind of started to feel the same way my mom did. He started to feel oh, wow, we both had these kind of life-changing health situations, and we made it through, and we're on the other side now. Maybe we should go to church and thank God for it. So then there was no escaping it. It was everybody was going, the whole family was going. So we came to church, and at the time there was Sunday school for high school kids, and Jim's daughter was a little bit younger than me. And so, I got to know her, become friendly with her a little bit, and some of the other young people that came in and out. But it wasn't until, and I wish I could remember who it was that said it to me. I had so many great Sunday school teachers at that time. After a while, I was like really interested in like, okay, so how do I, like, what is this really all about? What do I have to do? Like, because being used to my family's Catholic thing, and they're all, you have to do this and you have to do that, that was all I knew was from my family, who did communions and confirmations and baptisms and everything in the church, in the Catholic Church. And I said, so, what do I need to do? What, and whoever it was just said, you just need to believe in Jesus. And I was like, that's it? Like, it had never been put so simply before. Like, you think, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. When I become a Christian, I need to do this, I need to do that. And the start really is just putting your trust in Jesus and following him. And to hear it put so simply was really kind of mind-blowing for me. Like, that's it? That's all I have to do? I wish I could remember who that was so I could thank them properly for giving me such a simple answer. So then after that, there used to be the Christianity 101. I guess this was the equivalent of that. Jim had a nice little booklet he would give you and, go over everything with you. And, and at the end you could decide if you wanted to be baptized or not. And I decided that I wanted to be baptized. I understood that it meant a certain level of commitment to, even as a teenager, I understood it meant a certain level of commitment to God and to following Jesus. And so I was baptized in the church basement, in the baptismal thing, whatever. The big bathtub over there. I was baptized, and then we went out for ice cream to celebrate. That's what I remember about being baptized. It was, and I was glad, thinking back on it, I'm glad that we did something afterwards to make it seem like it was a special thing, and that, as a family even, that we understood that this was a special thing, that it wasn't just like the Catholic baptism, like you're a baby and you don't even know what's going on, and then have a big party and you still don't know what's going on. For me, it felt like it was simple because the person who presented it to me, whoever made that initial comment, it made it simple. Yeah. It's life-changing. It's nothing that, it's not something that I've ever regretted doing. I think it was, and being all the stuff that happened with my parents, it was a tough time, just in general. And so I think it took some other stuff to happen for me to really feel like I was going in the right direction. And that's definitely something that God orchestrated, because by the time that I was getting ready to go to college, I had an idea of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And I wanted to be like a writer. And so I applied to like NYU and some school upstate. But I think that was the first time that I was like, maybe God wants me to do something else. So, we started looking into Christian schools. And I really only looked at one because it was close by and it would be easy to. It was late in the year by the time I got these rejection letters and had to reassess everything. So it was in Nyack, which is across the Tappan Zee Bridge. So my dad took me one day to just visit the school. Some nice guy showed us around. We asked a lot of questions. And it was a beautiful campus. It was a different experience from what I expected. And they basically accepted me on the spot. That's where I went. College was very, very life-changing. I went on 2 mission trips, thanks to the Glen Cove Church especially. The church went to Costa Rica. I think it was after my freshman year. And these people were so grateful for our help my junior year. after my junior year, before my senior year, I had an opportunity to go to Ecuador. We were in the city of Quito, which is the capital city. We went, which is up in the mountains. There's an active volcano, which I didn't tell my parents about till we got back because they didn't need to know about it until they knew I was safe back home. Everybody has a story, and everybody's story is important. The Bible is full of people's stories, and they may not all be good stories, but they're stories of real people like us that were just trying to live their lives and follow God. And for me, that the Bible is so encouraging because of that, because we can see that these people weren't perfect. They were just like us, and this is their story, and it's laid out there. So I think to hear other people's stories for me and to get to share my story is just continuing that. We should be telling each other our stories. We should be sharing our stories and listening to other people's stories, because I think it makes a difference in our faith, because you don't know who it's going to reach or who it's going to touch, because sometimes you think, oh, I'm so different, nobody has a story like mine, or nobody knows what I've been through. And once you share your story, you'll have all kinds of people say to you, oh, I thought that I was the only one, or that was just like my situation. I'm Francesca, and this is my story. So that's it.